Welcome to the RVA Returners Podcast, your newest source for all things Final Fantasy TCG. Yeah, dude, I just think a lot of these new cards are stupid. They're so good.
Yeah.
The game we've been playing is not going to be the same game. And with that being said, welcome to the RVA Returners Podcast. I'm not going to lie, I feel bad. I'm a liar. I did say the next episode was going to be Boston. Yeah, it turns out we've got pre-release, and we had pre-release this weekend, and we're going to have another episode next week after the first couple tournaments come out. So, I apologize for being a filthy liar. Filthy heathen liar. But, with that being said, I'm your host, Chris Adams, and with me as always, they can't quite be Lan and Rain because they're both boys. Talking Adam and Andrew Lane here. How you doing, fellas?
Good.
Pretty good. Just got home from the pre-release.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. That's what we're talking about today. That is the main focus of today's episode. I think we're going to kind of do this roundtable discussion. All three of our pools were drastically different. So, Adam, I think you're if we had a Macho Man voiceover to put in here, yours was the cream of the crop here.
Yeah.
So
we
start there. Yeah.
So we talked about. We basically talked beforehand too, like cards that we were looking at that we thought were just powerful cards that you'd want to have. I think I hit most of them pretty much.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. The way they were passing them out, I pretty much had one, and I looked at it and I was like, I'll hold on to this one and pass the next one over to Adam. Well, I was like, you know what? No. Here, Adam, you take this one, and I'll take the next one.
Yep.
So let's talk about some of the things you opened up in that pool.
Yeah. So my first pack was Birdman.
Oh, so good. It had me burp. It was so good.
Then I think my second or third pack was Vaughn.
Two cards that I've been really, really high on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
think
like,
going in, it was like...
At that point, I felt like I had to put some sort of fire, and if I wasn't playing fire, at least some way to play him.
Oh, for sure.
So I had to run at least a small fire package, and then Vaughn's easy because he's light, so I can play him anyways.
But then to keep that train going, didn't you also get Pinello?
Yeah, so I also have Benello and I also pulled Rex.
Yeah.
As well, which all kind of work with Vaughn. And then I was able to pulled a pretty good amount of Earth stuff. So Earth was probably the main color that I pulled a lot of.
I think that was for most people. I think most people played Earth.
Two of the Mobius Mog. I had an Ignis. I had a Gabranth. I had a Miner. I had the 5-drop guy that kind of that buffs based on how much damage you've taken.
That guy's good. That guy's a good sealed card.
He's pretty good in sealed.
Really good sealed card.
And then I had basically with 6 packs, you had to run like what you were given. So I had basically 3 colors mostly, but then I also splashed in 2 other colors just based on like backups and stuff. So because since you could play back so any mana type.
Yeah, because it was what they call simplified sealed.
Yeah. So I basically ran. It was mostly Earth and Fire, but I also had a pretty good splash of Ice and Wind as well, and a little bit of Water cards, just to play them in. And yeah, I mean, I had a lot of pretty good strong cards.
Yeah, so you checked that box a handful
of times. Yeah, you did
times.
good. What your record? You finished what? 3-1. It was 4 rounds. You finished 3-1.
3-1. The one game I lost, I think, was pretty winnable. It was rough. Like I was actually in control most of the latter half of the game, and then he blew me out at the very end by being able to haste his the tomato.
Oh man, that stupid tomato.
And that's what let him get through. But if I had actually saved one of my ice cards from the previous turn and held that instead of pitching it to play the Birdman, so basically you have to go back 2 turns to the mistake that I made. If I had held that ice card, I would have been able to play a Doom Train, and I would have been able to actually stop him that turn and swing through the next turn.
Sure.
But, hindsight, so...
Yeah.
That's right, though. Like, turns out you had actually a really good pool, had some really good matchups. Now, as far as you, while you were playing through your games, what cards really stood out?
Obviously, the Birdman and the Vaughn.
Oh, yes.
So, Vaughn more so than Birdman, actually. Vaughn just straight up... Like, as soon as Vaughn hit the field, I think... Every game, I got to swing at least once. I think one game I got to swing like 5 or 6 times, which was just gross. So yeah, he was really good. Birdman was okay actually. Like the games I played him, like they were forced to deal with him. But he definitely didn't get as much damage as Vaughn got in, for sure. And the fact that I had Pinello and Mog to search out Vaughn, I was only able to play Rex one game, but the game I played it was just a blowout. Because the guy had grenade. So I was playing against Sean from Fredericksburg, and he had a grenade. And I turned one Pinello'd, searched for Vaughn, already had Rex in my hand, passed her to him, let him get through the extra point of damage, played Rex the next turn, which triggered his grenade, blew up my Rex, and played Vaughn for 4, basically.
Yeah. So, and that was a really good play. Like, well, and a lot of these individual cards, that's why I'm having each of us kind of highlight the cards that did work for us, because we're gonna go more in depth about some of these specific cards later. So it's important that we kind of put this out in the open.
Yeah.
But
other than that, just I'll go ahead and end mine really quick so we can get to the other people. Ignis and Gabranth together did a lot of work across the leagues.
Sure. I think that new Gabranth, A-OK. I think that's a really good card. I think he's going to see play in any kind of Earth decks moving forward. So we're going to go from that to Andrew Lane over here. Drew, tell me about your pool, some of your highlights, some of your matchups.
I don't think my pools were great. I did get 2 Mog, which made things feel less awkward, I guess, being able to play those for any mana and then just having the Earth to search. I did pull the Earth WOL.
Oh, that guy. Love that guy.
Any game I hit him, I won, but he was really the only kind of like curb stomper I had. I guess it kind of just felt like you play big guys because there's not a lot of removal in the set.
That is true. I think there's very little removal in this set, making sealed a little tough. Like this I don't mean to cut you off, but this sealed format is just about big, stupid dudes that are just gigantic ass beaters. You turn them sideways, you look at the ceiling, and you just see what goes through.
Yeah. So I was playing I had the WOL, and then I had the 5-drop ice guy. I can't remember his name.
What's it?
Zeed or whatever.
Zeed.
Or
He's insane.
Yo, I think, and you heard it here. I think that guy is better than Orphan in the current ice discard build that I'm sure will be getting reworked. That guy is insane.
Yeah, I think he's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he never felt bad. Even if I paid 6 to play him, he still felt great.
So basically, what we're talking about is there's a new 5-drop ice guy. He's a Final Fantasy 11. He's a 5-drop 9K, and whenever he's damaged by a character, that character's controller has to pitch a card. And for 1 ice, you can give him an extra 1,000 power till end of turn, and that's not like a use it once thing. You can kind of pump him however much ice you have.
So he becomes the greatest blocker. In the deck.
Yeah, I mean Ice doesn't have anything like that right now. Yeah, I think he's a great.
So the best play I had with him for sure was they had the 6-drop 10K that doesn't never dies.
Oh, that guy. Great and sealed. Not a great card, I think, otherwise, but great and sealed.
So I blocked it, pumped it 10, so we traded. But then since I took damage, and he had to discard as it bumped back to his hand, it was the only card in his hand.
Oh, that seems real good.
So that feels good. But yeah, I mean, I didn't see him only in that one game.
I wonder how that goes.
Well, if he's the active player, who's the active player?
So he would be the active player.
So maybe I think the discard would happen first, then the damage.
So we probably misplayed that. Then.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I think if it was the other way around, that would have happened correctly.
I'm not sure the ordering of things because damage resolution happens. He would die, but then I don't know when. That'd be a good question to ask. I'm honestly not sure.
So that's how we played it. But I mean, I only saw him one game, and it was that game, and I did win that one. But overall, I went 2-2. Not bad, not great.
Yeah, out of 4 rounds, it's fine. And how many colors were you playing?
All of them, I think. Mainly wind, lightning, ice was my main. Or no, yeah, those 3 mainly, and a little bit of earth. Just because WL was so good, I feel like I had to run a little bit, and I had the Mogs and Minor, so that's pretty much all the earth cards I had, but they were all really good.
Absolutely, and so similar with me, but as opposed to Opus 4 where I had the nuts pool, my pool was not great this time around. It was not good at all. Now, granted, one of the cards that really helped me here, I did pull a Diabolos. That card won me 2 games, just because when it goes back to this set, they use a term in Magic called Battle Cruiser Magic, where you're just using big, stupid dudes to do big, stupid things. That card helped me get over a lot of these big Battle Cruiser characters that people were playing. Because both times I broke just whatever 5-drop they were beating me down with. Then I'd make their 4-drop, whatever they had, be it Caius, be it Gabranth, be it Wool, or any of the other Warriors of Light. I'd make them a 1K to kind of just take them off the table. So yeah, I was in every single color. The only element I did not have in my deck was light, and I had at least 4 or 5 cards from each element. I was all over the place. I was able to squeak out 2 and 2 and then sneak into top 8. So now, granted, while my pool was all over the place, I had a lot of really strong synergies. I pulled a foil Ash starter card. That same pack, I pulled a Vossler. So right there, I've got something that helps. And I played them almost every game, and they did work. I got the water backups that allow you, that really benefit parties. I can't remember what their names are. The one that gives all the people in the party plus 1,000, and the other one that if you party attack and you do damage, you get to draw a card.
Yeah, they're both 2-drops, but I don't remember their names either. It's like Cecilia or something.
Yeah, and that helped with those two, because when I would party attack with them, and then they'd get one bigger, and then they're reducing damage done to them, and then I'm drawing a card. So I got a lot of mileage out of that little water package. I did also have a Leviathan that I used both times with a full grip, which felt really good. I'm really high on that new Leviathan. Things really, really, really solid.
Yep.
But I will say also, like Adam and Andrew here, my pool was made up of mostly Earth cards as well. I didn't have any like great Earth legendary card. I didn't have Wall. I didn't have Angus. But I did have 2 Mog Mobius.
Yep.
Which that guy's a game changer.
Does not feel bad.
Seemed to be a theme.
Oh yeah. I also had a Miner. I also had the big dumb guy that the 5-drop 7K that for each point of damage you have, he gets a K bigger. That guy is just a late game superstar because he's just big, beefy, and you're not afraid to either leave him back or, man, turn his stupid ass sideways. You're fine with it.
Yep.
But yeah, I said went 2 and 2, squeaked into top 8. We actually did a top 8 cut, which will lead in. That's the next segue. So we did a top 8. It was best of 1, sneaking into top 8 on my tiebreakers, and I probably had the most memorable top 8 game because it lasted a really long time.
Yeah.
I won. I squeaked it out on a deck out because I was just able to go wide. And the card that kept this, I have this game in the bag for a while, but the card that kept me from really going over the top was there's that new ice backup that you pick. You pay 1 in ice and tap it. You pick a number. Forwards of that number cannot attack. And keeping with the same stuff we've been talking about, it's never a bad option to call the number 5.
Yeah, so you're talking about Matt, which is another guy from our community.
He went undefeated in Swiss in this thing, by the way.
Yep, and his deck was pretty solid. And yeah, he had 2 of those, and I think it's arithmetician.
No, he had 3. He had
but he had 2 out against you.
No, against me he had 2 out, which made it really, really hard.
Yeah, I think he. Yeah, I think it's arithmetician. I think that's the name of the card.
Yeah, it's really, really. It was really strong, and it stopped me from doing a lot of things because I had 2 5-drops out, I had 2 2-drops out, and then I was able to get a 3 and a 4-drop out, and pretty much what it came down to is I drew my last 2 cards, so I have nothing left.
Yeah,
I have to win this turn,
yeah.
And he had 2 cards left. I just need to get 1 point of damage through so he can't draw.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, of course, we got everybody around us at this point. Every other top 8 game is done. And he says, he looks at me and says, depending on how you attack is going to be whether you, because he calls 2 and 5, taking 4 of my forwards just out of this fight of it immediately. So I'm sitting there with the 3-drop, the
Psychon.
the Psychon Commander and New Gabranth, who, so pretty much, depending on which one I attacked with, I would win or lose. So my first thought is, you know what, I'm just going to swing with Gabranth. He's the biggest guy. Let's turn him sideways first. Turns out it was the right call. Because if I would have not turned him sideways, he would have, because he had the Doom Train summon in his hand that he could have killed the Psycom just right off the bat. And then he would have been able to dull Gabranth.
Mm-hmm.
So
basically what would have happened is if he would have declared the attack with the Psycom, he could play his Doom Train.
Yep.
Dealing 7k to the Psycom and then dulling Gabranth, which basically means you get no damage in because your 7k dies before damage is calculated.
Yep.
And your 8K gets stolen. You can't attack.
Yep. So thankfully I made the right choice, and I just swung the one time because that's all I had, and then that was it. So.
Yeah.
And then I think when we cut, you were in top 8 as well.
Yeah, I also made it into top 8. My top 8 was over pretty quick, honestly. So, yeah, I think I had briefly mentioned it. So basically, I was playing against Sean from Fredericksburg, and he went turn 1, the 5-drop ice guy, and then grenade. So he basically pitched his whole hand, play a 5-drop, and a 2-drop that does 8K to a forward that has 8K or less power. So at that point, I'm like, okay. So then I look at my hand, and I had Pinello, I had Rex, and I can't remember what the other cards were, to be honest. But so basically, because I could play any color, like I could pay for backups any color, I pitched 2, I played Pinello, so I overpaid for Pinello. I searched for my Light Vaughn, and then I pass. So he draws his 2, he only has 2 cards in hand, and he swings through it. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take that points, whatever. Take the 1 point. Next turn, I tap Pinello, I pitch 2 cards, I play Rex. So I overpay for Rex, but then Rex dies, and then I play Vaughn for free. And then basically Vaughn just kind of wrecked the rest of the game. Yeah, pretty much like every time I was just swinging with Vaughn, I was either like, most of the time it was either plus 2,000 draw a card or can't block duel.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that card's going to be really, really good. So overall, the pre-release event was a lot of fun. Clearly, 5-color jank is the flavor of this format. Just all you need is, especially if you're doing the modified sealed.
I mean, I think the reason for that is because this time around you only got 6 packs.
It definitely helped because it would be impossible to play on 6 packs.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you ideally want to do is you're probably going to end up with 3 elements at least, and then you just have to splash in stuff like power cards that way you can.
Yeah, I would have appreciated 3 more packs like it was before.
Yeah.
And then you could kind of play 3 colors and not have to splash so much other stuff.
Yeah, and another card I got a lot of mileage of was old Kamlanot, whatever, the dark guy that lets you search for another dark guy, and he changes his element every turn. The fact that I had all that party attack stuff set up, I would change him to an element that would make my party attacks more beneficial. So I got a lot of mileage out of that. And with that being said, great time, great pre-release. But now I'm ready to start actually building decks and getting ready for Constructed. So with that being said, Adam, Drew, what cards that you saw today that you actually, because you can theory craft all day long, and granted, yes, a sealed environment is a lot different from a constructed environment, but actually having hands-on time with these cards, each of you pick one that you saw and you got to play. Name the card that you think is just going to change the way Constructed is played. And we'll start with you, Adam.
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard. There's a lot of good cards that I think are going to see play in the set, and like the more I played with them, the stronger I think the set is. But my pick, like, and I'm not saying this is the only card, but my pick for what I think is going to be a really strong card is the new I summon Mateus. So it's a 1 cost, and basically all it does is choose a blocking forward and break it.
Yep.
So the reason I think this card is really strong, so it's good and sealed. I ran it in my deck, but I never really got to play it.
I got to use it once.
But in Constructed, just think of the fact that a lot of your ice stuff is understated. And a lot of times they want to block your ice stuff because you're pitching cards. Like if Genesis and Lock are coming through there, they're going to force you to pitch. Now, even if you have a favorable block on Lock and Genesis, you still have to be worried about this card because, like, if I just attack with Lock and you got like a 9K on the board, you know something's up. So like, now it's like, okay, do I call his bluff? Do I block? But because if you block it, I pay 1 mana, I just kill your 5-drop.
Yep.
And I mean, for 1 mana, that seems really, really strong. And like I said, a lot of ice guys are kind of understated for the most part.
Yeah.
And so this makes them even stronger. And just threatening that card to just break something straight up, just seems really, really good.
It makes it definitely makes Cecil a liability more so than he already can be.
Yeah, and I can even see some other tricky stuff to maybe like at the end of the game, like you block something with Setzer that wouldn't quite have killed it. And then you kill your own Setzer to dull and free something, or you block with Renoa. So, like, say those scenarios where, like, I've been in a tournament, I've done this plenty of times where a Renoa will swing on me, and not thinking that I have like a favorable block with like a lower cost guy or something, or I'll swing on them with a lower cost thing or something, something along those lines where Noah won't die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now you have the option if you want to it's like a cute play. I'm not saying this is like optimal, but you can kill your own Renoa.
Yeah. Nope.
Guarantee that it goes off.
Yep. No, that's actually a really smart play. Because there's nothing better than if going back to the Setzer play. I like having Setzer, block with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Now I guess this is a timing issue. So they block. Does damage resolve after the block? Because there's a way you can block, kill that guy, then kill your Setzer to dull and freeze another guy.
Not if,
what is
Not if they're higher power.
Yeah, because the damage is resolved last. So yeah, I mean, but you still got some options. I agree. It's a really, really good ice summon. I think that card replaces like Opus IV Shiva. Granted, it's not a burst.
It's tough. Yeah, I think it definitely has a home. Like you're gonna try. I think you want to try to fit this card in right now.
For sure, I think it's a really, really good card.
Yeah, and I think that paired with that new ice card, I think somewhere you gotta find room for those.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that seems good.
So I guess next we'll go with the Earth card, Chris.
Yeah, mine honestly is actually like Vaughn. I know that seems like a safe pick because he is a legendary in the set, but when that guy, you have to deal with him before he gets to attack, because once he gets going, this man is a diesel engine. Once it takes him a little bit to get going, unless you have a haste enabler out like a Sage or any kind of package that allows you to make him hasty. This guy is putting you at an immediate advantage, either be it card advantage, he's just a big body, or now two of your forwards are useless.
Yeah, I will say, I played him in the pre-release almost every game because I had just ridiculous amount of ways to get him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he hit my damage zone one time, which was the game that I lost, ironically, actually. So the only one I really didn't use that much was choose a backup activated.
Sure.
But all of the other four, the fact that when I swing, and if he's the only one, and I'm not really caring if they chump block or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'll draw a card, he's a 10k.
Yeah.
And then, at the end of games, I'm like, I'll attack, he can't block, he's dulled.
Yeah. The guy just finishes up the game.
He's super gross. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get to him in multiple different decks now.
The fact that he's light makes him super splashable. Clearly he's going in Sky Pirates. I said it again. I'm playing him in fire decks I'm looking to build, which we'll touch more on that later. I think this card is a threat. Now I know the argument is, what about Emperor? What about Light Zidane? This guy, while this guy does not have the shutdown effect that Emperor does, I am every time if you play Emperor and I play Vaughn, who's going to win?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like I said, if Vaughn, and this is the way I look at it, right? So Vaughn costs 5, so he's under curve.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 8k, which means a lot of things do hit him.
Sure. Bahamut's the first thing that comes to mind.
But if this guy gets to swing one time, just one time,
yep,
he's already gotten value.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah, it literally just takes one swing. And every swing after that is just, you're grossly in your favor.
You've already had your cake.
Like I said, I think I swung with him 5 times one match, and that just felt really dumb.
Yeah. The guy's stupid. The guy's
he's really good.
I can't say enough good about this guy. And he is my vote for best legendary in this set.
I can see that.
Hands down. Drew, what's yours?
So I'm not going with necessarily a card I think is going to break the meta, but I think it's a card from the set that you'll see the most of, which is the Mobius Mog.
Oh my god. Guys, we have a generic tutor.
Yeah, I think this card is disgusting.
And with the Miner also coming out in this set, makes it really good too. They're both Earth, so you 2 Earth break, search your deck for a forward, not an Earth forward, just any forward.
That means it gets light, it gets dark.
It gets everything.
By the way.
Yeah, it gets everything.
So there's already all these decks out there that just kind of, here's a Dodaluma, a few Earth cards just so they can play Shantota.
Mm-hmm.
Now you also get this. I mean, and you can thin your deck and do your thing. Like I said, I don't think it breaks the meta per se, but I think from this set, that is the card you'll see the most of.
Yeah, because didn't all 3 of us get 2 of those?
I had 2.
I had 2.
I had 2. You had 2. You had 2. Matt had 3.
Jeez.
So it's a common.
It is a common.
Yeah.
First off.
And the fact that it's first it's a 2-cost backup, so you're dropping that thing turn 1 if you're playing some kind of Earth deck, Earth Splash deck.
Yep.
Then when you need something, you can just go and get it.
Yep.
For pitching an Earth card, paying 2 Earth, breaking the thing, which the fact that it breaks itself is also great.
Not bad.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, I was comparing this to Merleweb, right? Like, let's compare it to Merleweb.
Sure.
So this is a 2-cost backup, and then you have to pay 2 more Earth. So essentially, like, the only limitation is that you're going to spend 3 Earth on this thing no matter what. So you have to have a pretty good amount of Earth in your deck, to be honest, like, to be able to play this card. And then, tap, break, search for any forward you want. So Merleweb's a water only. She costs 4, which if you, like, go by his cost plus his ability cost, 4. She's not an ability, so she's a bit harder to stop. But I mean, like I said, like, you play this guy on turn 1, you don't feel bad at all.
No, not at all.
And then, like Drew said, especially with the new minor card, like, you can play minor early, pitch this, get this back, so minor costs only 2. Play that guy the same turn. Now you got a 4 cost and a 2-drop backup that you only paid 4 for. And then your minor can then, like, break itself to get forwards back. It's going to be pretty
Minor's
good.
really good, too.
I think Earth got the most support in this set, and I think it's a gross amount of support. Like, I think a lot of their cards are really strong. And I think as a core, like, as an element on their own, and as, like, a support element to other elements, I think they got a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I think they were already a great support element, and now they just got more.
So, yeah, my prediction would be that you're going to see a lot of, like, X-Earth decks, more, like, something and Earth together. You're going to see more of, I think.
Because, and, I think as far as, Vaughn, and, the fact that Moogle can go get Vaughn.
Yeah.
Like, Moogle can just go get him. I want this guy. Cool. He's a 1 of in my deck.
Yeah, I mean,
let me get him. And then guess what? If he dies, Minor can get him back.
Yeah. You can get Vaughn back, yeah.
So, like, the Earth is the element of choice, I think, that is looking really, really strong to me going into Opus 5.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to messing around with Earth for sure. I mean, yeah, like you said, the Mog. I used the Mog to get Vaughn today. I used the Mog to get Birdman today. I use them to get, like, you can get whatever you want.
You get any forward.
It's pretty disgusting.
So that card's insane. I think that's good. And especially now that, pre-release weekend's over, everyone's kind of coming down from the high. Next week we have the Petite Cup in Ohio, which is a bigger event, and I know a lot of local shops will be running there, because I know on Tuesday we're going to be running our first weekly, like proper weekly, but we're going to let people proxy and play Opus 5 cards. So I think at this point we're close enough. Opus 4, the Opus 4 meta it's time to move on.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be playing Opus 5 on Tuesday just to get people ready. Plus, we have another tournament on Saturday. So there's the Ohio tournament, and then we also have a local tournament. So I know, Chris, you're going to Ohio, but I think you're the only one really out of our group here that's going. Some Fredericksburg guys are going.
Yeah.
And then most of us are going to be going to the Richmond event, which is like a win a case, basically, assuming enough people show up. So I'm hoping by then I have all the cards that I need.
Yeah.
So I guess, going off that, we can talk about like what decks we're looking to play in those events.
Man, well, I think the easiest one to talk about, the easiest of the three, Drew. We think you have an idea of what you're going to be doing, like pretty cut
well.
dry.
Yeah. It's just a matter of numbers, I guess. How many of the new cards am I putting in? But I'm still going to play Mono Win probably on Saturday.
They got a lot of good support too.
Yeah, just teching in the new stuff. Hopefully, I think the Stolzars want to get. Obviously, in the pre-release we just had, I don't think I saw a single one.
I didn't see a single one.
So her and the new Diabolos and
Arc.
Yeah, those three are definitely going in the mono work deck. But I'm sticking with it.
You mean mono
Wind, yeah.
We were so high on Earth that it's
I
the only
so
color
much
we
Earth.
see.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the deck only got better. And
I agree with that 100%.
I don't know how much the meta will shift in the first week. Probably not a whole lot.
And then you got some new cute plays, because you've got that new win backup that we touched on, the one that comes into play. You return a character to your hand if you do draw a card.
Yep.
You can just get some insane value by returning like your Kane Senna or your Bartz back to your hand to play that.
Zdane's the one I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think that's another one you look at too. I think Mono Win is really strong moving forward. Just these new pieces. Your Stole is great because she shuts down the Shantota that you're expecting when you start going wide. Arc, to me, Arc is the card that really makes the deck over the top, because you can dull a combination of 3 forwards and backups. Choose a forward you control. It can't be blocked by a forward of 3 or greater.
Yep.
That's big. 3 and a greater. That's 90% of the forwards you're going to see.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the fact that you can, that's where you got the lines where you'll dole 3 guys, you'll do Ark's thing, then you'll jam a Bart's or a Kane Senno, you'll untap all that, you'll tap 3 more, you'll do it again. You'll play an Ares, you'll untap them. So pretty much your guy, like you're making it so almost your entire board will be unblockable. Then not to mention you still have Cobalt Droid, who's already has that.
Yeah.
So Ark can just straight win you a game or get you points of damage that your opponent just can't do anything about. Their forwards look great on their side of the board, but they can't do anything about the 3 or up. So I think he's a good card. Also, he's an anthem for all of your win characters, which is pretty primo.
Yeah, I think the only thing coming out of this that I kind of realized is the new Diabolos is not as good as I thought it was. Just because of the way we found out that the ability works.
Yeah, so for those who aren't aware, any of these choose to, if any of your value menu summons that have come out, the way they work is they resolve from the top down as a group. So if you choose, say Diabolos, I believe the first one on top is...
It's choose 1, 5 or more of the break.
Yeah, so say you target and then you choose the next one, which all day long I chose the break a 5 or more and then a 4 or less, reduce it to 1K. So if you target the 5 or more and somehow they're able to make that target illegal,
you don't get anything.
The rest of the card fizzles out.
Yeah, actually, either one. If either one is...
Really? I thought, okay.
Even if the second one fizzles, the first one fizzles.
Yeah. So keep in mind, like I think that really hurts the value on a lot of these choose your own adventure summons. I got nicknames for these things for days. So I think it's still a good, maybe a one of.
I think a one of is what
I think it clearly proved today in a sealed environment that it can just remove a threat. And sometimes that's all you need to push through.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
So with that, obviously I think Mono Win's really strong. I think it's a strong choice. I think just testing it, learning the lines, working the numbers out, like you said, for sure. Now, Adam, you're also going to the Battlegrounds local. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm still looking at Fire Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the build that I've been toying with since the Kefka Cup that
Sure.
we had.
Mm-hmm.
The more I look at it, the more I think it's going to change. I think it's going to look very different. I mean, obviously you're still going to have your core cards like with Saban and stuff like that, but there's a lot of stuff, mostly Earth stuff, that is just too good to ignore.
And it sucks because it starts making us like kind of devalue the fuckers. We both, again, for those who listened, we both played the same deck at the Kefka Cup. Both made top 8. I lost my quarterfinal match. Adam went on to win the whole thing. But the deck felt really good for both of us all day. And with all these new Earth cards, the deck is definitely changing. But we were talking about it on the way to dinner tonight, and every time we were like, why don't we take out this and put this in? And we're like, wow, we're just slowly stripping the fire cards out of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, really, like the fire cards that we really want are like Birdman, Saban, VV, and Lednor for the most part. Because I still like Lednor in the deck a lot. The backups are the hard thing. Like there's just a lot of the Earth, a lot of the backups we want are Earth backups, but we can't go all Earth backups because then we won't be able to play our fire cards.
Right.
So. Yeah, I mean, you got the new Mog, you got Miner, you got Momodi, you got... I mean, what else? I'm sure I'm forgetting one.
Star Sybil.
Oh, yeah, Star Sybil.
Old Sybil Shepherd.
Which is a Siantoto tutor, which I guess they thought the game needed.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, wow.
They heard the podcast.
And also, it gets you a free deuter in there for... you break it and you drop a deuter from your hand into play for free.
I think Light Vaughn fits in there.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty good. I mean, it's just, there's a lot. I mean, even Fort Caustic Branth is something we have to think about.
Oh, absolutely. And I know we've talked about putting Earth WOL in there, because that's another card that, that's another one of those cards that I know, Drew, you and Matt both got a lot of mileage out of that guy today, too.
I mean, the biggest thing for me is, unlike Vaughn, he doesn't have to swing.
Yeah, he just does it at the start of your attack step.
You play him, you go to combat, I choose to, and that's really good. I almost used him more like an anthem, where I never swung with him.
Yep.
It would be, this guy gets brave, this other guy gets plus 2K, I'm coming in.
Yep.
And that just seemed really good, because especially in the sealed, obviously it's going to be different in the constructed, when there's more hate, more destruction.
And I personally think, and this is where I value him, this is where I was valuing him from the moment I saw him, the fact that one of the choices you can make is that forwards cannot be targeted, and that's any forward, cannot be targeted by EX bursts of characters or summons, which means they can't be targeted by EX bursts.
Yeah. Well, character.
Yeah.
Character or something.
Yeah, so
as of right now, no.
Yeah. So the fact that, and how many times, and I've personally gotten to a point where, like, the game swung because you pop over that Jill, for EX Burst, or you pop over that Chaos when you have Yuna on the board, or a Leviathan.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, attacking becomes less scary because those EX Bursts don't mean anything. And all you had to do was play that guy. Yeah. And he's a 4-mana 8K. He is on curve. Like, I think that guy is gross, and we were talking about him in Fire Earth because of the fact that we're a very combat focused deck, and if you swing with somebody and then they pop a Leviathan, and now Saban's back to your hand or Birdman's back to your hand, like, that slows us down pretty significantly. So now if we drop wall and it's like, hey, guess what? Those EX bursts don't do shit. You're not afraid to just turn your guys sideways and keep swinging. Like, you are not afraid to keep the pressure on.
I'm not turning anything sideways.
What deck are you playing?
I'm pushing it forward.
Right, but now we're not afraid to do that because all of those EX bursts that you're worried about don't mean anything anymore.
For sure. And I think, ideally, just thought process what I'm thinking. It's like, you have that guy. You got the backup that gives break for free, which she can do the turn she comes out, by the way. Mm-hmm. Because, the way she's worded. So, you play that guy and her, and then you go to combat. Even if you just played Wool that turn, you're giving 2 things Brave and something else a boost, or maybe negating their EX bursts.
Yep.
And then, now, that's why I'm saying, the more I think about it, the need for Cyan goes down. And I hate cutting the card because he did a lot of work for me when we played the previous build. But then it goes back to the thing of, we're cutting fire cards because all these new Earth cards are great.
Yep.
And then, like I said, I think Earth got the most support, and I think you watch out for Earth this set.
Which leads me to what I'm looking at Ohio. Because let's be honest, I think Mono Ice is still a very safe deck to play because they're still going to strip your hand. They're still going to tap your guys down. They're still just going to tempo you out of the game. And Orphan is a good card. I think Zane or Zine, I think that guy's a better top curve for you. And I'll be the first to say it now. But I think with all this Earth support, I'm either going to do Earth Fire because I like the fact that the deck just doesn't lose in combat, and I get to play Saban, which makes me just feel good all the time. But I'm seriously considering Mono Earth just because of the minor value, the Ingus value, the Mog value. Now I can toolbox my forwards out and not have to worry about it, and also the fact that New Yang. If I'm playing against Mono Ice and I drop Guy and Yang, thanks for playing. Because I've just eliminated half the shit that your deck can do. And guess what? My guys are big. I'm just going to push them forward.
Yeah.
So that's going to be unanswered damage every turn that you just can't do anything about. Are you going to break them? Cool, here's Titan. Thanks for playing. You know what I mean? I think Mono Earth is the deck I'm going to play, but I'm really torn. I want to get some serious testing done this week. I really think Earth is really strong, and the fact that Wall, Angus, Nuga Branth is silly.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, because what's also great about Nuga Branth, if somehow you manage to get him out of the way and they swing with Genesis, I'll just pop Gabranth. I'm not pitching a card because you didn't do any damage this turn.
Yep. You have to KO him, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really neat stuff that Earth can do, and I think that I'm really leaning towards Earth in this set. I'm not discounting any. I still think Fire Ice FF6 from Opus 4 is still playable with a couple additions. I think Vaughn goes in that deck. I think Birdman finds a home in that deck. A lot of these real big, silly, combat-centric forwards. Again, this set is very centered around battle cruiser fighting. These are all boss fights, boys and girls. These are all boss fights we're doing now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to try to figure out what everybody's going to be playing that first week.
I think it's still going to be a lot of Opus 4. A lot of Opus 4.
Oh, it's safe. It's
I've talked to a few people, and a few people are like, yeah, I'm just going to play what I played before, and I might not even add any new cards to it.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that if I got to sit across from that all day long.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of card reading.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
At that tournament, for sure.
So I don't know, man. I think Opus 5 is shaping up to really be something really neat.
Did you want to talk about the deck that you're trying to build right now?
Oh, yeah. Something cute. We're doing some... yeah,
sure.
We've got the time. We can talk about cute project builds that we're doing.
Yeah, so
you'll never guess what mine is.
We know what Chris's is. Pirates aren't always in the sea, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yarg.
So my favorite game is Final Fantasy IV, like we talked about before. So I'm actually trying to build a Twins deck currently. So it's like the Twin Cast, like just to see how it goes. Right now, I think the list I'm going off of and kind of tweaking is older. So I just got to see what all these new cards do. Me and Adam have been tweaking it out a little bit too. I don't think it's great, obviously. There are cards that just completely shut it down. So if they play Emperor, you just feel bad because the deck doesn't work. But the two new twins they printed in this set are okay. The Palom is definitely better than the Porum, I think. The Palom draws
well, it lets you look at the top
five.
five.
You get a card.
You got it flipped.
I got it backwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, you look the other one. You look at the top 5. You get a card.
Porum is the water, the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
So you look at the top 5.
Pick one.
You pick one. You get it, and then she can also, I think it's 2 colorless tap, and she negates a special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good too.
Not a special, an action ability.
Action ability. Yeah. That's it. The new Porum is okay. He draws a card.
If you control Palom.
If you can get Palom.
Yeah.
But
he needs a lot going for him.
And I think the other, was it Opus 3 Porum is good, but I don't run him because I want the 3-drop more than any of the other ones because I'm just trying to play for the Twin Cast. I think the one card that I do want in the deck from Opus 5 is the guy that lets me take a second turn. I think, like we talked about before with the spoiler podcast, people are going to try to build around it. I already have the deck. I'm just kind of putting it in there. I mean, twin casting twice seems good. Unanswered damage is not bad. I think it is a double-edged sword because I think you'd have to run 3 dark cards, which can feel kind of dead.
Probably 4. I think it's going to be in 4. But
yeah, because you run 3 of that guy and 1 of the guy that searches too, possibly.
Yeah.
But also too, even if you don't get that off, you're still sitting on a 10K that when he leaves the field for any reason at all, for anything, he comes back to your hand.
He's really good.
yeah, he was pretty annoying in Sealed.
Yeah,
I played against him.
My second round match in Sealed was turn 1.
Yeah.
10K.
I managed to win a match
Deal
that
with
was
it.
turn 1 10K. It was rough. It was definitely rough. But yeah, go ahead. You want to talk about your pet deck for a little bit?
Yeah. What's really cool is I know I've beaten this Sky Pirates thing into the ground. But the starter decks also for anybody who is excited about any of the new cards. The starter decks went on sale this week during pre-release, and obviously I picked up the 12 deck. The deck feels really good. I think New Ash is really good. I've said good things about her. She's not as good as other Ash, but the fact that she can draw a card when she comes in, which she'll do 99% of the time. And Vossler looks good on paper. He looks good in the game too. He's actually the fact that when you get both of those 2 online, especially if you have a Wrestler, Ash is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Because Vossler reduces her damage, Vossler reduces his damage, and also reduces cost if you control Ash. And there's a lot of neat plays. I think the deck is fine, especially once you tweak it up. I don't see it doing anything crazy because Wind. We got Earth on the brain, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we're all thinking Earth.
Wind Water standard units is still a better deck in those colors for a competitive choice. I'm not saying this deck is better than that, but if you want a fun theme deck that you can actually build, with almost that entire starter deck, it's a good way to go, and it's synergistic. It's fun. It has some really neat lines and some really neat plays, and I'm excited to actually put it all together and put it on paper and see if I can scrounge out a weekly or 2 with that. Honestly, if I really didn't want to test so hard for Ohio, I'd probably play Sky Pirates on Tuesday for shits and giggles.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you, Adam? Is there something fun you're looking to build? Something neat?
So I've been messing around with the Fasoya, the backup Fasoya, the light backup. Probably thinking something along the lines of Water Earth.
Sure.
Use the new Cecil.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just do some cool combos with that. I don't think it's super competitive, but you kind of you damage yourself. You play them, you get the KO stuff. You can recycle them with Miner. You can do all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah.
You can Mog, the new Mog, to search out another one. Use the special, KO something else. And he's a burst, which is cool. And then use a lot of other cards that boost based on damage. So maybe the new 5-drop guy that gets +1K.
Yeah.
For each thing, for each point of damage you have. The old Dark Knight, the 4-drop Dark Knight.
Any version of Gabranth becomes excellent in the deck.
Yep. Actually, I think the new one might be the way to go, just because you're going to be so high on damage and be able to prevent any damage from being done to you. It just seems pretty good.
And guess what? You can get that guy back with Minor just in case.
Yeah,
so
also
you
true.
have you have a magic playset of Gabranth.
And you can search him with Mog.
Dude, I'm telling you, I cannot say enough good about Earth in this set. And yes, it's early. Yes, I do think some other things will pop up. But right now, Earth has all the right moves. A lot of neat stuff.
Yeah, and then another card that we didn't really touch on that's new to Opus 5 is the Ice backup, the Conjurer backup, who I think is pretty interesting.
Is that the one that lets you get a standard unit?
You get a standard unit back from your break zone, but it doesn't specify forward, so you can get those backup standard units.
So any you of those, get back the Minor.
You could get back Minor, because Minor is a standard unit.
Stupid.
So like in Earth Ice or something like that, but like a lot of like the staple backups tend to be like those standard Unity backups, and so now you can like recycle them and stuff.
Yeah, like if if they Archer your Red Mage or something, there's a lot of these great cards.
Yeah, the only thing is it's kind of off color in Ice, which is probably a good thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because if that thing was in like
wind or
water, it would
man,
could you imagine
that thing was in wind?
You play that, you get your Gladiator back.
Or you get your Archer back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have a lot of options in those.
Get your Ranger back.
So I think
it's real stupid stuff. You get your Ranger. Oh my god.
Yeah, it is hindered by the fact it's in Ice, but I do think it's a pretty cool card.
But I think it's a good card too, especially if you're like, I know there's those Earth Ice builds that run like the WROs and the Deep Ground Soldiers. That thing is immediately like at least a 2 of in the deck, maybe even a 3 of, because it could just get those guys back. Now, as of seeing all these new Earth cards, I think that is the far inferior version of Ice Earth you're going to see going forward. Because I think with that new 5-drop, I think 5-drop Cecil might even have a home in Earth Ice. Mog, Minor, there's just so many really great new Earth cards. I can't say enough good about Mono Earth or X Earth decks. I think are just silly, just absolutely silly right now. Because you can toolbox them, because there's no sideboard in this game. The fact there's no sideboard is you kind of have to create kind of a toolbox environment. You have to kind of anticipate matchups and be like, all right, well, this guy's in here for this matchup. With Earth, like I said, Mono Earth, we talked about we sat there at dinner all day. We were like, I can go down to one guy now, because now you've got 4 technically with Mog.
Yeah, Mog is gross. So yeah, I guess going from that, we can talk about Ohio a little bit, and maybe even the Battlegrounds event on Saturday.
Yeah, man. I think the next, that's what we're going to do on the. I think the next episode we're going to cover those results. Leading up to that, we're going to have just a real heavy week of testing, guys. I think I'd like to do well in Ohio. I'd like to at least come out with a top 8. I think I could do it, but I'd like to really be prepared for a lot of the same old, or maybe there's somebody brewing some real silly shit that none of us are even thinking about. But I think the cards I expect to see the most up there, I do expect to see some Vons up there. I do expect to see some Birdmans. I expect to see Ice in full effect. I think Wind Water is going to be like the safe deck for the people that are like, you know what, I got this deck. This is my pet deck. It has been. There's really nothing in this set that you might see like Arcs or Y'shtolas in there. You might see some of those, maybe even Refia. You might see some of these.
Well, they can't really play the new Arc because of the backup Arc.
Yeah, but it just makes them one bigger. That's I think because certain ones are already running like really Anthem heavy. Mm-hmm. You drop a Refia and an Arc on the ground, man. You've got all of a sudden you've got a 14K Ranger that you can't do nothing about. That seems really strong to me. And then you've got, those guys alone are already, 8Ks. Oh, no, actually, you don't play Arc because it plays the backup Arc.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you...
That's what I was saying.
He's getting old.
I'm getting old, and I don't really listen.
It's okay.
Now, I thought you were talking about it because you don't play Wind... I thought it was about, like, Arc's backup ability.
No, yeah.
I heard what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think Ohio's going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to pay attention to the results. I'm interested to see, because there's a lot of good players going, so I want to see what they bring. I'm not going to that myself, because I can't really get away for the full weekend in order to travel, so I'm just going to hit up the local event on Saturday, which should get a fair amount of people, I hope.
I think so, because I think, as far as I know, the only people from around here that are going to Ohio are me, Curtis, and Stephen.
Yeah.
So only 3 of us from here are from this area, unless any of the guys from Virginia Beach are going, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So there will still be a good turnout for the local event.
Yeah, I think it should be good, and Yeah, as of right now, I'm definitely going to jam Fire Earth unless I figure something else.
Unless as the building goes, it becomes Mono Earth.
I mean,
I think
we'll
that's
see.
going to slowly happen.
We'll see. But, I mean, I'm excited to play, and I'm excited to play on Tuesday to start off kind of like our local stuff. Hopefully that can pick up.
So, yeah, guys, with that being said, Opus 5 is here. Feel free to, comment on our we do have a Facebook page up and going now. Feel free to, drop us a like, drop us a share, comment on the page how your pre-release went. Stay tuned for more content on our website that we've collaborated with the Tidewater scene and the Fredericksburg scene. So we've got a website that's home to our podcast, articles, deck text, more content to continue to come. And also hit Adam at his Twitter at Kronos411. Is that correct?
That is correct. So yeah, I'll go ahead and shamelessly plug everything again.
Yay!
So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Kronos411. So if you ask questions, I'll try to look throughout the week, and when we get to do our podcast, we can maybe answer those on here or talk about some kind of subject that someone brings up that might be interesting.
Oh, absolutely. Any questions that pop up, we would love to answer.
Definitely
love to talk about.
Yep, definitely take a look at the website that Adam Duncan from over at the Pocket Gaming put up, which is returnersffTCG.com, which does host our podcast as well as other articles. Also, Facebook.com/RVA Returners, which
Beautiful.
is our new Facebook page. Be sure to give that a like and a follow. That's where we're going to be posting all our content and everything. And then also be on the lookout for our YouTube page, which I am kind of pulling up, and which hopefully we also have more stuff like maybe like battle arena matches or showing off a full deck list and going over like what choices we made. Go a little bit more in depth and maybe some stuff we go into the podcast on. So be on the lookout for that soon, hopefully.
Things I'd like to touch on the YouTube channel. I've talked about this before. I want to do, for those familiar with Star City's YouTube channel, they do a thing called Star City Versus where two guys play a best of five, but they actually, while they're playing the match, they talk about the match like, hey, I've got this in my hand, so I'd probably do this, and knowing you have, like, they dissect the matches. They talk about. Now, granted, this game doesn't have sideboard, so maybe a best of five isn't the way to go. I think best of three is the way to go, and you can talk about choices, changes you would make, how the matches went. I think that's going to be a really fun thing to do.
Yep.
And that way it'll give us a chance to play more decks because we won't just be playing the same old deck each time. Chances are we're going to play something different, be it a spicy brew or an established brew, just so we can kind of see how everything is, working out. So a lot of content in the future, and we do appreciate anybody who's liked us, listened, followed, shared, anything. We couldn't do this without the community.
Yeah, guys. Thanks. Look forward to the next one. Probably in like a week.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do. Yeah, probably. We're gonna most likely do it on Wednesday because I know I'm gonna be pretty beat because the high tournament's on a Sunday. Yep. Then I got to work on Monday. I got to work on Tuesday, and Then the week after that is there's nothing happening the week after that. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, we got a week.
Unless there's any local tournaments, which I'm not gonna pass that up.
Yeah. So till next time, guys. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you.